Welcome back to another episode of Ancient Mysteries Science Can't Explain, right here on Untold Mysteries, where history blurs into legend. Today we uncover two more enigmas that defy all understanding. 1. The Devil's Bible, a monstrous medieval manuscript said to be written with the help of the devil himself. 2. The vanishing of the Clovis people, a lost American culture that mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind only stone tools and silence. Let's dive into the forgotten truths that history tried to erase. In a library in the Czech Republic sits a book so large and unusual that legend claims it was written with the help of the devil himself. The Devil's Bible, a book so massive, so detailed, and so unusual that for centuries people believed it could not have been written by human hands alone. A book that carries a dark legend. This is the story of the Codex Gigas, more famously known as the Devil's Bible. The Codex Gigas is unlike any other medieval manuscript. It stands nearly 3 feet tall, weighs over 165 pounds, and is bound in wood and leather. But its size isn't the only thing that makes it mysterious. The book contains a full Latin Bible, historical texts, medical knowledge, and exorcism rituals, all meticulously written in perfect uniform handwriting. And at the heart of it, there's something even stranger, a chilling full-page portrait of the devil. The Devil's Bible was created in the early 13th century, likely in a Benedictine monastery in what is now the Czech Republic, but who wrote it and why remains a mystery. The most famous legend tied to the book is one that has fascinated historians and paranormal enthusiasts alike. According to medieval accounts, the Codex Gigas was written by a monk who committed a terrible crime. As punishment, he was sentenced to be walled up alive, left to die in total isolation. Desperate to escape his fate, he made a plea. He promised to create the largest and most magnificent book the world had ever seen, one that would glorify God and contain all the knowledge of humanity. And he would do it in a single night. The task was impossible, even for the most skilled scribe. But as the night went on, the monk realized he wouldn't finish in time. Facing death, he turned to the only being who could help him, Satan. The story claims that he made a pact with the devil, offering his soul in exchange for the book's completion by morning. The Codex Gigas was done, perfectly written and flawless in design. And as a mark of their deal, the monk dedicated an entire page to his new master, drawing a terrifying full-body image of the devil. It's a compelling legend, but could there be any truth behind it? One of the most baffling aspects of the Codex Gigas is its uniform handwriting. Experts have analyzed every page and found that the text appears to be the work of a single individual. There are no noticeable differences in style, no interruptions in the flow of the ink, and according to modern estimates, writing a book of this size by hand should have taken at least 25 to 30 years. Yet the consistency suggests it was complete in an incredibly short period. How could one person have written all of it with such precision? The book's contents are also strange. Alongside biblical texts, it includes forbidden knowledge, grim details detailing exorcisms, medical remedies, and even writings about demonology. Some believe this mixture of sacred and arcane knowledge points to something more than just religious devotion. The devil's portrait only deepens the mystery. It is unlike any other religious artwork from the time. Satan is depicted in a crouched position with clawed fingers, a grotesque green face, and a long red forked tongue. Some say 2 tongues slither from his mouth. His eyes appear eerily wide and glowing, as if they stare straight into the soul of the reader. Set against a dark background and framed between 2 towering structures, the image is both surreal and unsettling, leading many to wonder whether the monk meant it as a warning or an invitation. Some believe the drawing itself carries an ominous presence, as if cursed ink had bound something dark to the page. Others see it as a cryptic message from the monk, a chilling symbol of the price he may have paid for completing the Codex Gigas. But if the book wasn't created through supernatural means, how did one person manage such an enormous task? One theory is that the monk behind the Codex Gigas may have been suffering from a form of obsession or compulsion, what we might call hypergraphia today, an uncontrollable urge to write. Some researchers believe he may have been in a form of religious isolation, dedicating his life entirely to the manuscript. Another theory is that it was a collaborative effort, with later editions being carefully disguised to maintain the illusion of a single author. However, there is no evidence of multiple contributors, no shifts in handwriting, no changes in ink or style, and no corrections made over time. This has led some to suggest that the monk truly did work alone, possibly for decades, possibly under some unknown force driving him forward. The Codex Gigas also has a history of misfortune. Throughout the centuries, it has been looted, stolen, and moved across multiple countries. It was once kept in the Royal Library of Sweden, where it survived a massive fire. Witnesses claim that when the library caught fire in the 19th century, the book was thrown from a window to save it. It landed safely below, barely damaged, while much of the library burned. Some took this as a sign that the book was protected by something. Today, the Devil's Bible is kept in the National Library of Sweden under controlled conditions. Scholars continue to study its pages, but it still holds secrets that may never be fully understood. Who wrote it? How did they do it? And why did they dedicate an entire page to the devil? The answers remain lost in time. The Codex Gigas is a mystery locked within pages of ink and parchment. But not all mysteries are written down. Some are carved into the earth itself, hidden beneath layers of time, waiting to be uncovered. The next mystery is not about a single artifact or a cryptic book. It's about an entire civilization that simply disappeared, a culture that flourished for thousands of years before vanishing, leaving behind only fragments of its existence and a burning question: what happened to the Clovis people? The Clovis culture is one of the most puzzling chapters in North American prehistory. It dates back around 13,000 years, making it one of the oldest known human cultures on the continent. The Clovis people were skilled hunters known for their distinct Clovis points, carefully crafted spearheads found across North America. These tools, made from flint and stone, were so advanced that they suggest a society with shared knowledge, trade networks, and a deep understanding of the land. For centuries, archaeologists believed that the Clovis people were the first humans to set foot in the Americas, arriving via the Bering land bridge from Siberia. But then they vanished almost overnight. Their presence disappeared from the archaeological record, leaving behind no clear explanation for why an entire civilization collapsed. The discovery of the Clovis culture traces back to the early 20th century, when distinctive spear points were found in Clovis, New Mexico, giving the civilization its name. These tools were buried alongside the remains of Ice Age animals like mammoths and bison, suggesting that the Clovis were skilled big game hunters who thrived in the harsh conditions of the last Ice Age. As more Clovis sites were uncovered across the United States, Canada, and even parts of South America, it became clear that this was not a small isolated group. The Clovis people were widespread, successful, and left behind signs of a thriving mobile society. But then, around 12,800 years ago, Clovis artifacts abruptly disappear from the archaeological record. There are no clear signs of war, no evidence of mass famine, and no obvious reasons why they would have ceased to exist. It's as if the culture simply evaporated, leaving behind only scattered tools and bones. This sudden disappearance has baffled archaeologists for decades, sparking numerous theories about what could have happened. One of the leading theories is the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, which suggests that a comet or asteroid struck North America around 12,800 years ago, triggering massive environmental changes. According to this theory, the impact set off raging wildfires that burned across the continent, throwing so much debris into the air that it caused a rapid return to Ice Age conditions. This sudden shift in climate, known as the Younger Dryas cooling event, would have devastated the Clovis people's food sources, wiping out large prey animals and forcing a collapse of their way of life. Evidence of this cataclysmic event has been found in the form of a black mat layer, a thin, carbon-rich layer of sediment found at Clovis archaeological sites. This layer contains high levels of nanodiamonds, which some scientists believe are the result of an extraterrestrial impact. If true, the Clovis culture may have been one of the first human societies to fall victim to a global disaster. Another possibility is that the Clovis people didn't disappear at all. Instead, they adapted and merged with other emerging cultures. Some archaeologists suggest that as large Ice Age animals like mammoths and mastodons went extinct, the Clovis people were forced to change their way of life. Instead of relying on big game hunting, they may have shifted to smaller prey and new survival strategies. This adaptation could have led to the rise of new cultures, such as the Folsom people, who appear in the archaeological record shortly after the Clovis. If this is true, then the Clovis people didn't vanish. They evolved, leaving behind their old ways and becoming something new. But there is another, more unsettling theory, one that suggests the Clovis people were wiped out by an unknown catastrophe. Some researchers point to evidence of ancient megafaunal extinctions that occurred around the same time the Clovis disappeared. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and giant ground sloths all vanished within a short window of time, leading some to speculate that whatever caused their extinction may have also ended the Clovis culture, whether it was disease, competition with other human groups, or an environmental disaster. Something removed them from history with startling speed. Yet there are even stranger clues that complicate the story. A growing body of evidence suggests that humans may have been in the Americas long before the Clovis people. Sites like Monteverde in Chile and the G site in Texas contain artifacts that predate the Clovis by thousands of years, challenging the long-held belief that they were the first Americans. If other groups were already present, then who were the Clovis really? Were they an isolated culture, or were they part of a larger migration of people whose history has been lost? Some suggest that they may have been a remnant of an even older civilization, one that existed before the last ice age and was wiped from history by a disaster. We can only guess at the truth. Despite the many theories, the fate of the Clovis people remains one of archaeology's greatest unanswered questions. Did they succumb to climate change? Were they victims of a cosmic disaster? Or did they simply fade into other cultures, leaving behind only fragments of their existence? The truth remains buried, locked in the soil of ancient America. The Clovis people vanished, leaving behind tools, bones, and unanswered questions about their fate. Were they wiped out by a sudden cataclysm, or did they slowly fade into obscurity, their descendants blending into later civilizations? The mysteries you've just seen are only fragments of a forgotten past, secrets still buried, questions still unanswered. Subscribe to Untold Mysteries, and join us as we uncover the rest of the story in the episodes to come. The next enigma awaits.